What's up everyone, and today we're going to be walking through Yoyogi Park. So I know I mentioned this park a lot when I'm talking to you guys and when we're visiting other places. It's just because this place has a lot of memories here, just because I've come here almost every time, if not every time I visited Japan. And I think the last time I came here too, it was all covered in snow, so it's polar opposite right now. It's a pretty sunny day. But without further ado, Yoyogi Park with bathrooms right there. And there's a little food and beverage stand right there too, which I think has always been there. But I was going to go to Shibuya today, but then I was looking at the route that the train was taking, and I realized that I'd be passing Yoyogi Park, and I was like, oh, I should stop at Yoyogi Park because I've always mentioned it, but you guys haven't seen it yet. At least is that a husky? There's a husky right there. Huskies are like one of my favorite dogs. Of course, Colin, Sandy, my Labrador retrievers, they're tops, but Huskies are one of the best in my opinion. Actually, before we got Cole, our black Labrador retriever, we were gonna get a Husky, but the guy kind of scammed my brother because the Huskies were on Kauai, and my brother had to go fly there from Oahu. And when he got there, the guy never showed up, but my brother already flew there and everything. And needless to say, that's the short version of us not getting a Husky. But it led to us getting Cowboy, and Cowboy is a super good dog, so definitely not disappointed in that one. But oh, a lot of picnics, a lot of benches. There's also a shrine somewhere in here. It might be called Meiji Shrine. I'm not quite sure, but I think if we go like all the way down, we like wrap around, we hit a shrine. There's also little food stalls. But for the most part, like this area right here is a big circle. A lot of woods area. This was all snow though, the last time I came here. I believe I told you guys before that I came here with my couple of my friends from Hawaii, and it was like a boys trip. But they were still in university at the time, so they were doing their homework online and everything. So they're like, oh, let's go Yoyogi Park right now, let's go check it out. It was pretty late too, just around like 8 o'clock maybe, almost toward we had to get closer because the trains were going to stop. The trains stop around 12, but we wanted to get out, spend time, go back, you know, take it easy. But they told me like, oh no, we're going to do our homework first, you know, be responsible. I was like, okay, fine. Can't argue with that. Came over here. When we got here, it started snowing. Told them like, oh hey, it's snowing, the trains might be closed, so we gotta figure out how to get back to you guys, or you guys can try come here and we can figure out something together. But it's snowing right now, and for like Hawaii people, that's pretty big, because some people, they don't leave Hawaii, so the first time they see snow out of Hawaii is like the first time in their life. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to breathe with this mask on. But anyhow, we do have Mauna Kea, and Mauna Kea does have snow on it, but in my opinion, after living places that actually have snow, the snow on Mauna Kea is more like ice. It's more like shaved ice almost. Just because if you make a snowball and you hit someone with the snowball, it's all nice and fluffy and kind of powdery. It doesn't hurt that much, but you make a snowball on Mauna Kea, it's more like an ice ball, and you like hit someone with that, it's like pelting them with a baseball almost. But anyhow, we came over here, was snowing, made a snowman, There were these other guys from, I think they were from France, but they also spoke English. They didn't just speak French. So that was cool. We talked to them a little bit. They're like, oh, did you make this snowman? I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, right on, cool. I felt pretty good about my snowman until I like saw some of these other snow sculptures. The ones I was talking to you about in Ueno Park. I saw those ones and I was like, oh, my snowman's kind of juvenile compared to these like pieces of art pretty much. There's a sign right there, little placard. It says cycling center and toilets. But the toilets are that little building right in front of us. I wonder what the cycling center is. Oh, I'm a little bit interested in this this sign about dogs. Have to be on the leash, pick up the doo-doo. No doo-doo or shishi in the central places. I was interested because I saw the circles all crossed out with dogs on it. I was like, oh, is there no dogs at all allowed in this park? But we saw a husky on the way in, so I was like, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense. Either that lady's breaking the rules and doesn't care, or I'm misunderstanding something. But I was just misunderstanding. It basically just be conscientious of other people if you have your dog, pretty much. Kind of the basics. It's like one of the first things you learn when you get a dog is like, oh, most places you just have to have the leash on and clean up after your dog. But, oh, I think this is the cycling center right here. I think it's like a circle for cycling. This other little road track over here. There's little signs. Yukuri wa shiru. Yukuri. It's I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that means like, oh, take your time going this way, like be careful going this way, like go slow, take it easy. Something like that. The gist of what that sign said. There's not too many people out though. Which is kind of nice because I really do like avoiding the crowds. It's about a 2-hour trip every time I come into Tokyo. I believe I mentioned that before. And I just love how the train gets slowly closer and closer to being jam-packed the closer I get in. And then when I'm coming back home, it slowly unfills until the point where it's like just myself, my brother, maybe like one other person inside of the train. But something interesting that happened today was we had to get off at one stop just to wait for the next train to come at the same platform and then get on to that train. So I just may not be used to transit systems, but I thought that was pretty weird to be able to get off and get on a train that's going the same way. But I think it's because later on in that trip, our train veered one way, and I think the first train we were on would have just kept going straight. But I was confused. I literally got off of the train, looked at my phone for the directions, and it said platform 1. So I looked at where platform 1 is, and then where I got off was platform 1, and I was like, what do you mean transfer? The little sign on that tree that says what type of tree it is. But it has like the scientific name. And there's a lot of little elementary school students over there inside of the little garden area over there. The sign at the entranceway says herb garden. So I wonder if the little elementary school kids are doing something with the herb garden. It'd be interesting to get a closer look, but at the same time, I don't want to look weird. I hope you understand. Just a dude with a camera looking at little kids to get a closer view of what they're doing. That'd be kind of weird. I am interested what exactly they're doing in the herb garden. If they're like planting it and it's like a grade schooler herb garden or something inside the park. I think that'd be pretty cool. But I'm not as interested as in to look all weird trying to figure this one out. Oh my goodness. Guys, I think there's a dog park here. I see dogs off of leashes inside of a fence, and they're rather large dogs too. That's pretty exciting. We have only small dogs in my community. Sandy and Cole being what they are, they're like 3 to 4 times the size of the dogs that our neighbors have. And a lot of Shiba Inus and a lot of like toy poodles. But they kind of just yip and yap and yip and yap. But you know, I have 2 Chihuahuas on the big island at the family house. They just yip and yap, so I mean, I'm not complaining because I'd be a hypocrite at that point, but Sandy and Cole are triggered by it sometimes because there's like a proper way to introduce dogs to each other when they're on leash. And a lot of times, like, it's better to introduce dogs when they're in the dog park, so that way they have enough time to get the space that they need from each other. That way it doesn't come into conflict. But that doesn't really happen when we're on the streets walking our dogs. Normally the Shiba Inu or the toy poodle like lunges at Cole or Sandy, it triggers them, and then Cole or Sandy will bark, lunge backwards, trying to avoid them, but they're on the leash, so then normally either my brother and I go flying. But this is super neat. Actual dog park. Out of all the times that I've been here, I never really noticed this. And it's pretty big. They have a small dog section and a larger dog section. I wish there was something like this closer to where I live though. But not one that I found. There's like dog daycare places by where I have, and they have like an inside area for dogs to be. But it's kind of like a fee per hour kind of thing. Let's see here. And then it's also a bunch of small dogs too. It says if we go this way, it's the cycling center. So I'm assuming that building over there. Yeah, that's the cycling center. So I guess you can leave your bikes there. I wonder if you can rent a bike and just circle around this place. I wonder if I ever like did a full circle over here. Or maybe it was nighttime, so I didn't really notice anything over here either. They have like a golden retriever. And I don't know if that's an Australian shepherd or some sort of shepherd. It's funny, growing up as a kid, wasn't allowed to have pets. Mostly because of where I live, they didn't allow pets. Also, I was irresponsible as a kid, so taking care of something else when I can't even take care of myself, that's a big no right there. But I was a cat person. I always wanted a cat. I didn't really have interest in dogs. And I got my first dog when I lived on Oahu. And that became getting a second dog, and then getting a third dog, and getting a fourth dog. And now I love dogs, and I have all these dogs, and you lie down, and they cuddle with you, and it's pretty amazing. And they're good too. As long as you train them as a puppy, they pretty much understand anything. So over here, this little road to the right of us, that's still the cycling road. It's just over here, there's no fence on both sides of it. It looks like they're doing something in the middle of the field too. They have the orange stuff up. And more bathrooms right there. So Yoyogi Park is on your way to Shibuya, or on your way out of Shibuya, depending on which way you're going. And Basically, any of the JR subway lines can get you here. That's why a lot of the times when you're visiting, they recommend getting the JR pass. And I don't know, we thought it was a good idea the first time we came here, so we got the JR pass. It's a little bit expensive though, if I remember. I can't remember the exact price. I just remember looking at my brother when we were gonna come here. I was like, whoa, that's a bit high. But I think it's good if you're planning to go other places. The JR lines go outside of Tokyo. Our first trip here, my brother and I stayed in Tokyo. We didn't go outside of Tokyo at all. And like the fares from like Ginza Station to Akihabara, like normally is only $1 and change to maybe $3 and change most. So if you get like a Suica, the little green card, silver and green card with the penguin on it, or a Passmo, the silver and pink card, I think that's fine, honestly. Like you put $50 on it, that'll get you around a lot of places, especially if the fares are only like $2 to $3 each time. And because I want to say that the JR pass was like $100 or something. Yeah, like comparably, I think if you stay in Tokyo, it'd be pretty much smarter to get that. There's a little bug on my camera. Sorry, but can you go? Okay, it flew away. But yeah, if that went on the lens and I didn't notice and was just crawling around while I was talking, I'm sorry about that. But as I was saying, sometimes when I come back from Tokyo, my Passmo still has money on it. Like I haven't used all the money. Is that something that you don't want because you're not sure if you're gonna come back? It's like a one-time thing. The Passmo and Suicas both work on vending machines. They work at 7-Elevens. When they say like how are you paying? I forget how to say that. Go shoe something, go shoe. It sounds like that. But or when they just stare at you after they tell you the total. If you just tell them IC card or IC card, same thing. But if you tell them that, they'll be like, oh, they'll point to the scanner and you just have to tap it. You can pay with it like that. Then you can really drain everything off and you don't have to worry about leaving any currency on there. You can take the cards with you back home and then bring them back if you come back. That's what I do. It still works. Still is perfectly fine. Oh, they're practicing like boxing over there, those two guys. But yeah, just a word of experience for any people coming here first time. I would recommend just sticking with the Passmo or Suica unless you know you're going somewhere pretty far. I'm not sure if the JR Pass works on Shinkansen. Shinkansen is the bullet trains, the really, really fast trains. I'm not 100% sure if you can use the pass for those. I know it works for any of the JR lines, but I'm not too sure about anything else. The other thing too is the JR Pass, when you go through the entranceways and the exits for the tolls, like the little toll booths, you have to always talk to the guy in the booth. You have to show him the pass when you enter and exit. The machines only work for actual tickets that you buy and for the cards, the IC cards. Some vending machines. So that's just another thing to keep in mind if you want to avoid talking to people as much as possible. Get the IC card. If you don't mind every station just talking to the guy. I don't know if you have to tell him where you're going, but I know you have to pass through. Oh, and you have to show him your passport, I believe. You have to show him your passport and your JR Pass. The JR Pass is like a little paper book. Has like a stamp in it. So you show him that, you show him the passport, and you go through each time. So the stairs in front of us, we passed a couple of homeless people a while back. I think that was like outside of Akihabara. But the stairs in front of us is where I saw the other homeless people. And I think I mentioned that. They slept under the stairs. It's pretty cold. Oh, by the way, if you were wondering, I normally visit Japan ending of January or early February. I think I've come in May one time, and I've come Thanksgiving weekend one time. But Thanksgiving weekend, that was kind of a bust. That's the trip that we were only here for like 2 days, and yeah, my brother got sick, so I just went around without him. I bought snacks and medicine, left him in the hotel room, and then dipped. But you know, in all fairness, we're in Japan, and want to go see Japan. But he got well towards the end of the trip. He had we were here for 3 days. He had 1 day where he could gallivant. It says garden path. So there's that, and there's this garden path. Let's go on the garden path. Nice little scenery before we finish our Yoyogi Park loop, because we came from the entrance just right over there. So we actually did the full circle. If memory recalls, this is the first time I've done the full circle. I don't think I've walked the full circle before. I think I've only done like one side, transitioning from one side to the other side, depending on where I was going. But I'm not sure if this is much of a path or not. We're going, oh, okay, I'm off the path. There's all these dead pine needles everywhere that I got off-routed. Little GPS in my head was like recalculating. It's not much of a, I think a lot of the stuff over here is out of season. I have marigolds and blue lavender that I bought, and I'm trying to grow. I bought the blue lavender because I thought lavender was supposed to help keep bugs away. But in all honesty, I still have a lot of bugs in my house, so maybe I need more lavender. Unless blue lavender is a type of lavender that doesn't really work on. I'm not sure. I don't know much about flowers, but in all honesty, a lot of my neighbors all have flowers outside their house. And I was like, you know what? I'll go get some flowers too and put them outside our house then. Just, you know, it's like all those Hallmark movies where there's that, the one neighbor that goes up to the house Christmas time. It's like, you don't want to be the only dark house on Christmas Eve or whatever, you know what I mean? So then the protagonist main character puts up Christmas lights anyway, just to appease the neighbors. I wasn't like bombarded by our neighbors to put flowers up, but I was like, you know what? Everyone else in the community get flowers, so I'll put some up too. But now that I think of it, I gotta water them. I haven't watered them in a couple days. It's been raining kind of heavily the past couple days, so I was like, maybe I don't need to, but my soil inside is kind of dry. That building right there is Yoyogi Gymnasium, if I am not mistaken. The path forks right here, so I'm gonna go to the right just so we can get kind of a better look at the Yoyogi Gymnasium. I'm not exactly sure what type of gymnasium it is. I just know it's a gymnasium. Wonder if they did anything in there for the Olympics. I was bombarded by my neighbors when we first moved here to join the neighborhood association, though. That's a thing here. I never heard of it. We don't have something like that in Hawaii. Basically, it's like annual fees. I think the annual fees are like $20. And not annual. Annual is like a year round. There's quarterly fees. Yeah, quarterly fees of $20, or you can pay the $100 and just make it like an annual fee. But I want to say it's for it's for the trash pickup, because that's a big headache over here too. I'm not sure. I think I'm supposed to go that way. But oh yeah, the trash we bring out to like this corner. There's like a little bin, a little clear bin with a lock on it. You can only drop off the trash on the exact day into the bin when it's unlocked. So yeah, I think the fee is to help pay for the upkeep of the trash area, which I don't mind, you know. I use it too, it's only fair. But that was the only thing. Because like in Hawaii, you just take your own trash to the rubbish dump. And just throw it all in the rubbish bin, and that's the end of it. Let's see here. There's a guy coming out that way. Surrounded by little kids right now. Fearing for my life. But nah. If they're all like my niece, then I'd be afraid. But they seem much calmer than my niece. My niece's nickname, because she's a toddler, but when she was in her terrible twos, because that's a thing, her nickname in the house was Tornado, because she would just pick stuff up and just fly at any kind of place. So it was a little frightening. But she just is like an Energizer bunny packed with. She understands stuff. Like her comprehension level is amazing for her age. So she gets bored of stuff pretty quickly. But we're back here. This is the first bathroom. The trail goes that way, but I'm just gonna cut through over here. Hopefully there's no spiders or anything. But once we get to the other side, you'll see that this is where we first started. This is the snack shop right here. So that was Yoyogi Park, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a good one. And I'll see you in the next one.